Hey girl, hey, my name is Gina DeFord. I'm the founder of Babe Crafted, and I'm going live today with Delaney Driver of Wilder Mind Events. She is an amazing wedding planner. She has an incredible team, and she works with couples who are doing their own thing. She works with couples who have quirky taste, really fun ideas. So I'm really excited to introduce you to her and our topic. So we're talking about waste-free weddings and events. We're going to go ahead and invite. Please introduce yourself in the chat. We want to know who you are. The more we know about you and what you're looking for, the better we can customize the conversation. Hi, Delaney.
Hello.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Doing good. Those earrings are giving me life.
Thanks. They kind of hurt my ears.
Yes, they're so pretty. Okay, so tell us who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Delaney, and I am the owner of Wilder Mind Events. I started my business. It will be 3 years in March. So we were a COVID baby business. And I've been doing wedding planning before that and just decided to start my own business. And it was 2 weeks before COVID when that happened. And a lot of, stuff has happened between here and there, but, we are thriving. We're a wedding and event planning company that just really loves to make unique events and weddings, and really like to try to be as quirky and as unique to you as possible. We don't like to copy and paste anything. So we just are trying to be a fresher version and a just kind of more fun version of what wedding planning is, and redefining it to make it your own.
Love it. There's a lot of really great wedding inspiration out there, but at the end of the day, it comes down to that specific couple, their story, what they're passionate about. So it's so amazing that you help them infuse that into their special day.
Yes, that's what we love. We love to get the personalities of our couples in that wedding.
Yes, so amazing. Okay, so tell me, what is a waste-free wedding or event? What does that really mean?
So there's a lot of ways that you can look at this, and the biggest way that, because it looks different for everybody, but basically what I mean by that is, how can you be sustainable when you're planning a wedding? Because there is a lot of waste that is in weddings and events, a lot of single-use plastics and food and so many things that are wasted. So it's basically just looking at your event and finding ways to be sustainable while doing it, so you're just not having like waste in one single day.
Yes, absolutely. And, planning an event, there are so many different layers and details. And then, of course, once everything is wrapped up and the event has ended, what do you do with all of these pieces, And it definitely takes some planning ahead of time so that you're not forced to just toss all the extra food or just throw out all these pieces of decor. So if anyone has any questions, please don't be shy about popping them in the chat throughout. We want to hear from you. So the next question I have for you, Delaney, is, so now that we've talked about what a waste-free wedding or event is, so let's talk about breaking down some myths about, if you're going plastic free or you're going waste free. So do you have to have a big budget to have a waste free event or wedding?
You do not. I will say it helps tremendously if you do have a bigger budget, but you do not have to have a super big budget to be more conscious in your event.
Right on. So what are some, okay, so another myth I want to bust before I ask my next question is, can you have a waste-free wedding and have it still be luxurious?
Oh, 1000%. Yes.
Right on. Okay, so what are some examples, what are some examples of things that, can go from being, like a one-time use to something that is actually more sustainable? Like, what are some options there? And what are some things you've seen that can still add to the ambiance of an event, but be sustainable?
Yeah, so one of the biggest ways that I think you can implement being sustainable is with your plates and your glassware. A lot of people will opt, and this comes down to a budget, so I'm going to give you two options. The more luxurious, not so budget friendly option is to rent everything. Rent the glassware, rent the actual dinner plates, not having like just the single use throwaway plates. That is a way to really elevate your event. There's so many funky plates out there and glassware, and there's so many ways that you can actually like make art on your table when you rent these plates. And then it's a rental item, so you're going through a company, it's being reused, it's not thrown away, all that good stuff. The other option, if you don't necessarily have a budget to be renting 200 dinner plates and glassware and all of that, is that there's now a bamboo option. So what you think of your plastic plates, there's now a bamboo option of that. So it's just a more sustainable way to have a throwaway, but you can do bamboo forks, knives, plates. And I've done a lot of weddings with the bamboo, even if you just did it for like the dessert plates and you kind of broke it up. And they're actually really sturdy and pretty good quality. I have not come across one yet where I'm like, this is crap. It holds your food, it doesn't fall apart, and it actually looks pretty nice because it kind of has that tropical Florida vibe to it anyway, since it's that wooden bamboo look.
Absolutely. That's such a good point. Okay, so we're talking, okay, I'm getting excited. This is such a good topic. So, of course, one of the biggest things that happens at an event or wedding is people they're drinking, they're eating, like you're doing that together. And I loved your idea about maybe just swap out the dessert plates. This is not about being perfect, right? This is not about like, being 100% sustainable and you get your gold star. Like, this is just about doing what we can to be more impactful, and swapping out a couple items here and there does make a huge difference, because plastic takes literally forever to break down. And something like bamboo, I mean, the cost might be a bit different, but you're making a difference in the long term, and you can feel even better about your celebration that it's not having a negative impact on, the lovely place that we live, which I know that you love living in St. Pete, Delaney. A lot of the clients you work with have their weddings in the St. Pete area. You're a beach volleyball player. So what I'm alluding to here is, can you talk a little bit about why sustainability is a passion of yours?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that, because I was just thinking this. I want to be very clear that like sustainability in weddings is a fairly new thing as far as it being like on the mainstream side. I actually did a wedding about roughly a year ago who was a very sustainable couple, and that was their mission. And ever since that wedding, it actually kind of redefined the way that I looked at things. I was born and raised in Texas. No shade at Texas at all, but I didn't even know what composting was. I didn't recycle. We recycled like our Coke cans, but like that, just sustainability living was just not really a thing when I grew up. And so when I moved to St. Pete, this whole world opened up to me, and like, there's a whole ocean that I literally get to see every day, and how things affect everything around us. And I felt like St. Pete just in general is they strive to be as sustainable as possible in a lot of our local restaurants and stuff. So that's what even kind of like started getting my mind on this. And now I have a compost, and thank God my neighbor is really great with that, because I had no idea what I was doing. But I would say it's become more of a passion is because I just was completely unaware of it. And once again, it's not about being perfect necessarily, but it is about just trying to reduce your carbon footprint and making as much of the impact as you personally can on this planet while we're here, because we don't want to be I don't want to be the reason that this whole place is dying, so I'm trying to pull my weight where I can. And I think weddings is such an easy way to start implementing some of these practices. And there's so many weddings and there's so much waste. So once again, if we can just start making little changes, I do think it will make a big difference in the grand scheme of things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit more about like other options for the food and drink portion of weddings and events. But then there are other aspects of weddings that we can change up materials or, the types of things we use to make other elements more sustainable too. But so we talked about you could rent your glassware, you could rent your plates. This way you're not using single use items. We also talked about how you can use bamboo, because you can pretty much get any item made from bamboo, whether it's your plates, your cutlery. But you can also thrift your items, right? Like you can go out and get that more eclectic look and get these mismatched, really pretty pieces for your table settings, for your, plates, glassware, things like that. Have you had some good experiences in that regard?
Yeah, so I just reshared one of my reels that we did this back in the spring, but we work at Tampa Bay Watch all the time. Shout out to them because they are a nonprofit venue that is a plastic-free venue as well. So you're not allowed to have any sort of plastic at this venue. So it actually makes clients get very creative. And one of our past clients did go to their local Goodwills and Salvation Armies, and they thrifted a ton of glasses, and that ended up being their wedding favor. So, and the glasses were like all over the place. Like there was martini glasses, there was like tiki looking glasses. Like you got to go up and pick your glass, and then that was your glass for the entire night for the bartender. And of course, they're rinsing it out in between uses and stuff. I know that like freaks some people out in the comment section. Like they rinse it out before they put a new drink in it. But they were so all over the place that you could easily know which glass was yours because each single one was different. And then that's just a really fun favor because now you have this really cool cup that you can bring home and, drink whatever you want out of it. And it was just kind of a cute memento and way that our clients decided to, implement this strategy of not having plastic glassware.
Yes, love that. And then, of course, if they wanted to, they could then donate it back to the thrift store, and then
Exactly.
someone purchase it and utilize it. This way, if you want to give them out as mementos, great. If you are looking for another way to avoid just like taking 100 glasses back to your own home, you can just go ahead and donate them and someone else will make good use of them. What about paper items too? Like, I mean, I know that everyone's style is different, and I'm not going to encourage someone to use a type of item if it doesn't go with their wedding theme or their vibe, but paper items have gotten pretty dang cute.
Yes, 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 yes. So do you mean like invitations and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, invitations, but even for food and drink, I mean, paper straws, like
Yeah.
paper items. So it's still single use, but it's going to break down quickly.
Yes, yeah. Paper is a great option. The paper straws. A lot of our clients actually don't even use straws at this point in time, but there are paper straws if that is necessary. And then going into the invitation thing, there's like eco-friendly, like recycled paper that you can use for your actual invitations now. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's not crazy. So you could actually use recycled paper for your wedding invitations. And then I would always suggest for weddings, I'm normally like, do not send a digital invitation for your wedding, but for your small holiday parties or get togethers, that is a really good way. Going digital completely, so you're not even using paper, is a wonderful way to even invite people as well. I'm trying to think what other paper products we even use to, because I normally discourage menus as well. If you do like a menu per plate, I normally discourage that and do at least like a paper menu per table so that, or one or two, so that everyone can pass it around, and it just reduces the amount of paper that you have even for wedding programs. Some people do it, but I also, try to discourage people from doing wedding programs because they use it for 10 minutes and then it literally goes right on the table or on your chair that you were sitting in and it's thrown away. So we can recycle it, but I just try to actually discourage useless paper for weddings.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and one of the things that's part of your job as a wedding planner is to help your couples allocate their budget, right? And you want them to utilize their budget on the elements of their celebration that are the most important to them, and the money that would be going towards paper menus and a paper program guide, they could use on something that is way more impactful. One of the things that can be really impactful at weddings is the decor. So like, what are some examples of like sustainable decor?
Yeah, so flowers are definitely a very popular wedding decor, and we're actually pretty flower heavy as planners. Um, there's honestly not a ton of florists that have really anyone. They're trying, so there's foam that you use for your flowers. And there's a ton of people right now trying to find alternatives to using the green foam. There's a few options here and there. They're super expensive. They don't necessarily work. So the florist industry is still trying to figure out a way to reduce the green foam that is used, because that is not great at all for the environment. But one of the main things that we do, if you just want to go all out with the flowers, is we partner with a company called Random Acts of Flowers, and they are a donation service that comes at the end of the night. So you just basically will connect them to each other, and we'll work with the Random Acts of Flowers, and they come at the end of the night, and they actually, if you have like a big arrangement, they'll deconstruct that arrangement and put it into mini bud vases, and then they pass them out to nursing homes and local hospitals. So I would say that's like the easiest way to make sure that you're, getting the most out of your flowers without really doing anything differently. If you do something differently, you can always opt for, rental items, not necessarily buying your own decor. I know it's so tempting to just buy everything off of Amazon because it's cheaper. But if we can avoid that and rent it so that it's being reused, because I say everyone, most people that buy their own decor, they're like, well, we're going to sell it. And then it sits in their house for a year and it doesn't sell the way that they want it to sell. So if we can avoid that, we discourage that a little bit and just rent it through a company so that it for sure is being recycled and reused. And now you're not stuck with, boxes of glassware. And then there's one florist in particular that we work with all the time that actually composts what is not taken. There's really not a lot of florists that do that. So that's pretty cool. If you don't have a donation service or you're not using them for like a brunch the next day, she'll take what she can and she'll compost it herself. And then I try to take, me and my assistants will literally fill our cars with flowers, and we'll pass them out to local businesses or to our neighbors. So our neighbors really love us. So those are all kind of options with that. And then dried florals is also a really awesome option for you as well. If you want to go the flower route, but not necessarily ones that are going to die, dried flowers are really trendy right now and cute and last forever. Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Yes, dried florals are so pretty. And you can get them in any colors that you'd like. And then, yes, you can definitely hold on to them afterwards. Have you had your couples dry their own florals? Like maybe they received them and they were live flowers and then they dried them themselves? Because that's another way to be sustainable, is to hold on to these keepsakes and then you get to continue to enjoy them.
Yeah, there's definitely, I would say, quite a few couples that want to preserve their bouquet at the very least. And you can do like resin, or not most of our couples normally hire someone to do it, just because there is kind of an art to drying them yourself. But yes, a ton of the bouquets are actually what is preserved, and then we just pass it off to whoever is doing it, and they'll put them in a little shadow box or something cute for them to hold on to, and like hang on their wall. And also Morgan dropped the link. I just saw that she dropped the link to the Random Acts of Flowers for anyone that wants to go look at that.
Yes, thank you, Morgan. Appreciate it. And good question, Jill. You can look below. Morgan has shared that link for you. Okay, so I have another question. So you had mentioned, couples who order all of their decor new from like Amazon and different websites like that. And they're like, oh, we're going to sell it. It does take time and energy to sell these items. And sometimes they don't sell. But that being said, what if we kind of re-engineered it, and instead of buying everything new, like we did shop around in like wedding swap groups and on Facebook Marketplace, and we found items that people were looking to offload, so you're getting it at a lower price and then it's being used a second time. Have you had some luck with that as well?
Yeah, there's definitely like a ton of Facebook groups. I'd say Facebook is kind of the best way to do that locally. I think the only thing, you just need to make sure that it's actually in like good condition, but we've definitely had some clients even go on Facebook Market and sell themselves and have had great success with it. So that is definitely an option. so that you can buy decor from other people that are trying to sell it. But Facebook groups, there's a ton of like wedding swap groups. So just joining those and seeing what people are selling is always a really good option if you're wanting to still buy, but and not necessarily rent for a lower cost.
Right on. Okay, so we've talked about some alternatives to we've talked about like bamboo, we've talked about paper, we've talked about renting things for your food and beverage, we've talked about getting decor secondhand. So we've talked about a lot of different ideas so far, you know, as far as making sure that you're changing a couple of things for your wedding or event to make it more sustainable. And I feel like the main takeaway that I'm getting from this, Delaney, from our conversation so far, is thinking about this well in advance of the event, you know, making a plan, asking your planner questions, you know, about, hey, what can we do here? What can we do there to make it more sustainable? You know, making sure that you're not trying to be sustainable the night of the event, you know, because then it's like, okay, everything's pretty much set and done. Now you have to figure out where you're going to put all of these things. So can you talk a little bit, Delaney, about how you could help your couples in advance, you know, change some elements of their wedding to be more sustainable, but still be true to their celebration?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I would say it's easiest with our full planning clients just because we're involved in every aspect of the wedding planning. And I mean like every aspect, all the way down to the dresses. Um, so it's really easy to make suggestions as we're going throughout the wedding planning process. Just another option here that I'm going to throw out there is your actual wedding day dress and your rehearsal dinner dresses and stuff like that. You can easily, rent those outfits. You can secondhand buy them through like an Etsy shop or something. And then there's even like ethical production designers that, you know, are focused in ethical wedding dressmaking. I'm saying that really weird. But so like when we're at the very beginning, we can be like, hey, you know, have you thought about these options? And then as we just keep going down the wedding planning process, that's when we're putting in our input where it's like, you know, maybe we don't need the menu cards because you're doing X, Y, and Z. So let's skip that and let's maybe increase our rental budget so that you can get that really cool dinner plate that's funky and goes with your vibe. And then it's also not a plastic item. So it definitely is like a year's worth of planning where we are trying to educate our couples because you don't know what you don't know. I didn't know what any of this until a year ago. And it all started with a couple bringing it to my attention. So it's just one of those things where when we're involved in the entire planning process, that's when we can be more mindful because it definitely is. You can't just show up on the wedding day and be like, okay, how do I recycle all of this? You know, even with the random acts of flowers, you have to contact them at least a month beforehand to make sure they can come pick them up. So there's definitely a lot of processes and elements that go into making the big day as waste-free as possible. It's not just, you know, snap of the fingers for you. And even with I'm going to throw out one more thing for you. Even with your ceremony exits, there's a lot of people that like to do confetti. Well, now there's biodegradable confetti. So skip the confetti, skip the bird rice. Let's not kill the birds. Do the biodegradable confetti or use real flower petals since those naturally will, you know, dissolve into the ground. So it's just stuff like that. We're like, oh, you know, we saw this cute idea on Pinterest. Like, look at all this confetti. We're going to order it. And it's like, wait, there's biodegradable confetti. Let's do that instead. So that's kind of how we help our clients is as they throw ideas out at us. If there's a way that we can make it more sustainable, then we'll just go ahead and throw that idea back at them. And 9 out of 10 times, they're like, oh, I never thought about that. Let's do that version instead.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So, I mean, we've covered everything from dresses to the send off, you know, and how you're going to send your couples off in a way that is beautiful and exciting, but is not plastic, you know, it's not single-use plastic. Love it, love it. We've covered so much ground, Delaney. So I have another question for you. So if there is a couple or an individual, you know, planning an event, if you wanted to go the extra mile, how can you be completely waste-free?
listen to us first off. um, so being completely waste free. So I'm just going to go back to this wedding that I did since it was completely waste free. They actually potted their own plants for their centerpieces, which doubled as a favor. So favors, get rid of those. 9 times out of 10, they get thrown away. But she actually like potted plants. So that was a really cool takeaway. And then she potted them themselves. So all of her centerpieces were waste free. We rented all glassware. We did actual flatware that wasn't plastic, plates, the whole 9 yards. All of that was taken care of. They even opted for a registry that was donated to a charity, which was super cool. It was when it was actually like a link to all the, I don't know what organization it was, but it had to do with Ukraine. And it was a donation link to donate to a company or a nonprofit with Ukraine to help everyone and aid over there. I'm trying to think of what else they did. They rented literally everything. And I can't even, all the food was taken home or donated. The flowers, since they're potted, those were taken home. Yeah, it literally everything was rented. And it can get a little expensive when you go that route. But when you literally rent everything and you don't even use one single plastic item, even down to the favors, that's how you can go completely waste free. When you make your own centerpieces and pot them yourselves, it has that good juju in your plants that you can take home.
Yeah, just, every ounce was just, really intentional and very, very well thought out. So thank you so much for sharing some more about what you've seen. That's wonderful. And I'm excited for you to help more couples in the future to reduce their carbon footprint and just continue to use items that are more sustainable, but still be able to really just enjoy their celebration. So Delaney, where can we learn more about you? How can we work with you?
Well, you can just hit me up. That's the best way to do it. So you can go to my website. There's inquiry form on there. That's the preferred method for you to just go fill out, the dates and budget and all of that stuff in our form. And then we'll reach back out to you to set up a meeting. You can follow us on Instagram. You can DM us. We don't care if you DM us. So if that's easier for you and you want to DM us, then that's a way to get a hold of us, or you can just shoot us an email at hello@Wildermind Events and we'll get to chatting.
Love it. Thank you so much for everything that you've shared today, for all of the encouragement, all of the really nice, tangible ideas on how to have less waste at your wedding or event. You're amazing, and hope you have a fantastic holiday.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Enjoy your holiday.
Bye.